I apologize in advance for how much my hair is going to jump around, but it's one of those days. Hi, welcome! My name's Nat, and this is my first ever Authortube video. So today I'm planning to do the Authortube Newbie Tag, because obviously Authortube, newbie. But before I jump into the questions, I just wanted to quickly introduce myself. So, as I said, I'm Nat. I'm from Australia, as you may be able to tell. And at the moment I'm working on my first ever manuscript. I am about 26,000 words through at the moment, so about a third of the way through, I want to say. I forgot to say, obviously this tag was started by Jenna Streety, so I'll link her video down below, and I'm doing the second version of this tag. Question 1, what is your book's pitch? And if you have multiple works, choose your favourite. So I definitely have multiple projects that I'm working on, but for this question I will focus on my main work in progress, which is the draft that I am currently working on. It's on the cusp of being new adult and young adult, and I'm working out as I go through this draft which side I want to lean more into. It is a fantasy novel though, and it focuses on my main character called Marina. Just before what is supposed to be the most important night of her life, she finds out about a reward being offered by the royal palace for the safe return of a very valuable necklace that she finds out her family has discovered hidden in one of their guest rooms. The book follows her journey as she, along with her cousin Zulo, steal the necklace from her uncle in order to get the reward for themselves. Madness ensues as everyone around them is trying to also hunt for this necklace to get their hands on that reward, and they have to work out along the way who they can and can't trust. There are hints of romance, magic, adventure, all bundled up into this book, which I'm planning to be the first book of a 3-book series. Question 2 is, if you were a book, how would you pitch yourself? Now I'll keep this one a little more concise. I'm 4 feet and 11 inches of passion, laughter, and constant social anxiety. Question 3 is, what do you usually write? It does vary a bit. I normally stick to either fantasy or contemporary genres. At the moment, obviously, I'm focusing on the fantasy book, but I do have other stories planned for the future that are just set in a contemporary setting. Even if it's not necessarily a romance book that I'm writing, I definitely like to have layers of romance thrown in there. I do reserve the right to change my mind on this, but as far as I'm concerned at the moment, I will pretty much always have romantic plots, whether it's the subplot or the main plot. It's just, I love it. And question 4 is, what is something you'll never write? I'm hesitant to say never, but I think it's probably unlikely that I will ever write something that is a horror sort of genre or an intense thriller. We all love a bit of tension in our books, especially as you're getting towards that climax when things are really starting to ramp up a bit, but I'm not really a fan of being constantly scared or on edge throughout the whole book. It's just not for me. It's the sort of thing I think I'll leave to those who excel at it. Question 5 is, what is your goal for your Authortube channel? My main goal is to make some connections within the community. I've loved watching Authortube videos, especially when I need an extra kick of motivation, but I've never really done anything beyond comment. I've never made actual friends through it. And frankly, I'm a little disappointed in myself because I think I've missed a good opportunity, and so now I would like to change that and make some friends. Aside from that aspect of it, I also really would like to have a documentation of my process. Especially with this being my first novel, I would love to look back at something in the future that really shows how I was going step by step and see how far I've grown. Question 6 is, what made you want to start writing? I started writing at quite a young age, and I have a feeling it's just because I was reading so much that I just always wanted more, and I think that's the case for a lot of people, if I'm not mistaken. And also sometimes I think you wish other stories had certain elements and then play off that, which obviously leads to new stories. I think I would have been about 10 or 11 when my dad gave me my first laptop and I started trying to write my first book. I think it was some kind of historical romance. Why was I writing a historical romance at 10 years old? With no research. I really got into writing in a serious kind of way when I was in high school, and I discovered the wonderful world of fan fiction. There was an Australian band that I she says. There was an Australian band that I hardcore fangirl over, still. And shortly after starting to post my stories on the internet, I became the fanfiction goddess of my own dreams. Not to toot my own horn. I actually saw that band a couple of months ago, fully thinking I was over the fangirl stage, but then this happened. 7 is what is your chosen publishing path? So at the moment I am still unpublished, but I hope to one day be published. In what form I haven't yet decided. I think when I was younger I was really focused on the idea of traditional publishing, but I also didn't know that other forms of publishing existed. So once I get further along into the process of this manuscript, I'll have to do some more research so I can make a more informed decision and see where to go from there. Question 8 is what content do you bring to the Authortube table? Thus far, this is what I've brought to the Authortube table, but I do hope to make some sort of update videos so that I can sort of track where I'm up to with my novel, you know, force some accountability on myself. As I move through the writing process, I also hope to learn some tips and tricks that I might be able to share with anyone watching, and hopefully create a platform where everyone can share their own experiences. And I think I'd also like to maybe do write-ins. What is your biggest writing struggle? I'm sure I'm not alone, but consistency. Aside from working 2 jobs in the real world, I'm genuinely the world's worst procrastinator. Imagine this was possible for a second. If you got a calculator, input the worst procrastinator you know and multiplied it by 10, I would be the result. If you looked up procrastination in an encyclopedia, it would just be a picture of me staring blankly into my phone. So aside from, you know, that mental struggle that I have, I also have noticing as I go through the first few chapters that I've written, my sentence structure really could use some work. Because I'm noticing a lot of I blah 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 and blah blah blah. I blah 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 as blah blah blah. He whatever whatever whilst I blah blah blah. Just switch it up, Nat, for the love of... Question 10 is what is your best writing skill? I think I have a pretty good imagination, which I'm sure is true of most writers because obviously how else would you come up with the plot? But I think I also am quite in tune just mentally with my characters. I hope it comes through in my writing, but I feel that I have a really good understanding of what they would do, how they would react to certain situations. It doesn't take me like a lot of fleshing out or character profiles to just sort of know that instinctively. And hopefully that does make them a little more authentic, or at least come across how I want them to. I guess I'd call that a skill. So now the tag requires you to choose between question 11 or 12 based on where you're at in your Authortube journey, so I'm skipping 11 and heading straight to 12. If you're new to Authortube, what is your biggest Authortube question? Since this is my first video and I'm literally just filming this now, I don't have a lot of questions that have popped up for me yet, aside from just the internal terror of, but how do you get original video ideas? What are you doing? But like obviously I'm hoping that that will ease up a little bit with time. Maybe, maybe not. Am I doomed to feel this forever? Aside from that, a less Authortube specific question that I just have for everyone in general is, how are you doing with this quarantine? Like, are you writing more or less? Because I feel like I was going strong for a bit and then just, I feel like when you know you have more time, you just don't do anything. Or is that just me?
Genuinely the world's worst procrastinator.
On to question 13. Are you looking for any new channels, betas, critique partners, or writing friends in general? I'm definitely looking for new channels to follow and writing buddies. Within the next few weeks I'm hoping to look for some critique partners, but beta readers are still far off for me. If you happen to come across this video and you're also looking for any of these things, please comment below and we can have a chat. Question 14 is, what are you most excited for on this new fresh start on Authortube? Other than things I've already discussed, like putting myself out there and meeting new people, I'm just looking forward to being immersed in this community. Alright, we've done it. This is the end of the video. I've answered all the questions. If you'd like to connect again, please comment down below. Let me know what you're working on, and I'll see you next time. Bye!